Okay, I'm just going to show you through the user interface of Revit, and we're going to eventually talk about how to add walls and doors and windows and that sort of thing, but they're more architectural features. And if you go here and copy these internet addresses into your web browser, it will take you to the right spot where you can learn about windows and doors and roofs and that sort of stuff anyway, but I'll attempt to do a quick one as well. Okay, first of all, we have a look at the interface again through my version. And I'm just going to click New in this instance to open this up. I will go with the architectural template, not that it matters, and go OK. This may be already set up, but let's have a look. Okay, so it's not how necessarily yours is going to come up as far as these two palettes go, but at least one of them should be up. The project browser. Let's just try and bring that across. Yeah, let's just look at that. It looks looking good. Apparently in 14 you've got to double click this and it somehow goes underneath the other one, but I've only got 13 here, so I'm just going to drag it and see if I can put it under there. I don't need to put it under there, but it should go under there in theory. There you go. Yeah. I'm going to leave it side by side because I like the length of it, the height of it. All right, so I'll leave it like that. Now, let's just have a quick look at this. We will look at the view for a start. A view tab, it's under V. There you go. Okay, so if these are ever off, for example, if you click them off, which is easily done, you basically can't do anything. It's a bit like AutoCAD. If you haven't got a command line, you can't do much with it. So go to user interface under the view tab, and then make sure that the project browser is on, and also make sure that the properties is on. Okay, so that's how you turn that on. Alright, so basically what we can see here is three tabs that are sort of the three main tabs that are important in Revit. That's the architecture. So then there's the structure. You find that some of the things the wall, some of the tools are similar. For example, we've got a wall in here and we've got a wall over here. It looks a bit different there, but that's pretty much the same thing. We've got a slab over here, wherever it was, slab over here. And we've got a slab somewhere in here as well. We've got a floor. I'm sure. Yeah. There's this slab. There you go, slab edge. So they're a bit different. I'll explain that a bit later. Now let's go. So then you got the structure, and you've got systems. Systems is more the there's another word for it is MEP. So it's mechanical, electrical, and plumbing section. And yeah, that's the electrical by the look of it. All right, so we will be dealing with architecture and structure, but we won't be dealing with systems at this stage. All right, so okay, so how do we just show you a little bit around this? When you first open up this particular template, it has these predefined areas here. All right, now there's a ground level, level 1, and so on. Every template might be different. A project that you saw before you had a huge list of project browser sections here. It really depends on what you open up. The structural one is different again, but essentially there's a ground level or level 1 or whatever you can draw stuff on. All right, so basically you get these little things around here. These are basically elevation labels. And this is a section label. All right, so basically what you do, you aim to draw your project in here somewhere, and then it'll appear in the right spot. For example, in your elevations, it'll come up right, in your sections will come up right. It's not to say you can't add any more elevations. You can add more to the, say, 45 if you like. You can rotate these as well. You can click them, click them. And you can turn on different parts of them. For example, I want to look, I'll make that to look that way as well. I'll turn off that one. Oops, I won't do that. Cancel. Otherwise, it'll delete the view Okay, so what he did, he created another view for me down here once I tick that on. The section again, if that wasn't there, that wouldn't be there, the section. All right, so it creates a section view. These are all interrelated with each other. There's only one model really. It's just different. Oh yeah, you're right. You can't see it. What's happening there? No, something happened to the resolution, I think. Yeah, so you can't see that. All right, hang on a minute. All right, so sorry about that. On the left is your project browser here, and we'll just keep going with this. Basically, now if I want to draw a wall, I'm currently in the highlighted area here, which is ground floor. All right, so and that means if I'm there, I'll be drawing on the ground floor level. If I'm here, I'll be drawing on the level 1 level. So it's a little bit like your user interface, UCS in AutoCAD, where you can move it up. Well, that's all it basically does. It moves it up a level, so you can draw on that level. All right. So where did these levels come from? Well, I'll show you that as well. You can set levels under sections or under elevations. All right. So if we go to south elevation, there's a level there, and if I add another one, automatically we're going to have here level 2, for example, appearing in between level 1 and side, hopefully. All right, so first of all, let's learn to crawl, then walk, then run. So let's go down to the ground and just show you a few of the basic tools that you're going to need and how they work. So if I go to wall, I can click on wall here, and it'll come up with different types of wall. At the moment that we're looking at the properties of this space here, and these are the properties here. We can change the scale for it. You know, we can't do too much else really. It says it belongs to the architectural discipline. All right, you can have a few others as well there. All right, so all right, what we're going to do is go wall. But if I go here, look, there's a few others as well. So which one do I pick? All right, this is important because in your project it will ask you to actually use the structural wall. All right. If you don't use the structural wall, it'll be more like it's not load bearing basically. And when we bring the architectural drawing into the structural template later on, when we want to turn it, when we give it to the engineer won't see any walls when he brings it in, because in the structural discipline, it only shows you the load bearing or structural walls. So I like to see all the walls when they come across, so I prefer to use this one here. Now this one here is no different to this one. In structural, sorry, I'll go back. Just go down a bit. I don't know why this is different, but yeah, they just give it to you first here, whereas this one here is the same as that one there, which is not the one we want to use. Anyhow, it doesn't really matter for demonstration purposes, but let's get used to using that. All right, so what have we got here? Now when I click that, this here wasn't there before. This is your options bar. It's a bit like your command line in AutoCAD. You can set up different options for different commands. Windows will have different thing to walls, for example. So always look here, always look in here. With Revit, it could be anywhere. The setting you want to set could be here, it could be here, or it could be in both places. Or it could be on a pop-up dialog box. So it's not uniform in the way it thinks as yet, but it's getting there. All right, so when we look at this here, I've got to do a few settings here. What do I want to do? All right, the depth of the, am I doing depth or height? Okay, by default it went to depth. I want to go height. So in other words, if I left it to depth, it will be drawing an 8,000 millimeter high wall, but underground. So ground and below. I want to go height, so make sure that's set to height. It's going to be 8,000 high, or I can constrain it to level 1, whatever that is. All right, so I connect it to level 1. And if my level 1 height changes, the wall will grow with it. And that's the idea of that. It's sort of associative. Now I can do, again, we were doing left justified and that sort of stuff in with our polysolid in AutoCAD. Here you can do the same, similar. Okay, So I'm going to go finish face exterior. So where I click, it will be actually my finish face exterior. All right. That's what I want, but you can do center lines if you want. And then, okay, so this is basically it. You can have an offset of it, so it's a little bit higher than the ground level, for example. And we'll play with those things later on. Okay, so let's just get into it, draw something. So I'll just zoom in here and I'll draw something. If I click here, automatically I get these guides. There's no ortho as such, but it does lock into the vertical and horizontal sort of orientation. I can type in the size of the wall, so it might be 8,000 for example, or the length of it, and enter. Or I can just draw it and hope for the best. Notice when I come down here, it lines up to the other side automatically. It's a bit like object tracking in AutoCAD, and that finishes that off. Now, generally, if the tool is not like AutoCAD, the tool stays there until you press modify, which is basically the AutoCAD version of enter to finish a command or escape. So if I go like that, it doesn't know I finished until I go modify. But when I closed that figure, it knew I finished that command at that time. But the command is still active. All right, so, it's not active until I pressed modify, so it's gone now. But if I didn't press modify, it would have been active. All right, I'll just delete this one here because we don't need that. So just use Control key to add, or Shift key to add additional. So if I click that, Shift key, Control key, sorry, to add additional objects. Or you could do a crossing window as well, like you do in AutoCAD. Now the thing is, it was a 270 wall. It looked quite nice when I clicked this thing here, but it's not. Like it looks like that, but it's not now. So why is it not like that? If I zoom in here, we have different levels of clarity, I suppose. We have a detail level coarse, and that's what we're on. Medium and fine is better. I use fine here in this instance, and we can see it's that. All right. Now it's not much good me showing you this because that's double brick all along. So let me just use a different one, which is the one we're going to use in our exercise, which is basically if I go down here, I can choose other ones. Like you can choose, we'll be using basically the 250 timber frame one, this one here, and also the 90 stud later on for internals. So let's go with that. Okay, so these settings are still set, which is good. And if I go chain, which I have, it means I can keep going around until I finish my rectangle, or I can click rectangle if I want. And then it'll give me like a rectangular version of that. Okay, so there it is. Okay, if I zoom in here, look what happened. I actually got it the wrong way around, So you gotta, and you couldn't tell beforehand because it was both brick walls before, so you couldn't tell. But the bricks shouldn't be inside. I'll just modify that. It doesn't really matter. You can do a few things. You can click that and you can just swap that around. You can do this with many of the Revit elements like doors and windows. All right, so okay, so there it is. If I click on here, I can change this size to be whatever I want it to be. But I happen to not want to change it. I want the overall to be, say, 9 meters. So what I do is click this witness line at that dot there twice, and it goes out there. And because I've got that there too, and because I've got that wall highlighted, it'll grow or reduce from that side. So if I go here, say make it 8,000, it should drop down. All right, see that? All right, so that whatever you got highlighted is the one that moves. All right, that's how it works. So that's a very basic thing of that, but I've got to just stop this and we'll restart it and continue. All right, so stop.